Well, good morning. It's Tommy G, middle-aged millennial, and we have, and I'm going to be changing my accent. And we have a coffee machine malfunction right now. So I'll be back in just one moment. You right? On the side. Well, good morning. It is Tommy J, middle-aged millennial, and I am coming to you from the Gold Coast. It's very overcast, as you can see. Anyway, all right, guys, that's starting to get a little annoying. I might play a bit more with that later. But we have Anne Western Murphy that's going to be joining, and she's not here yet. She will be here soon as I check for her. We are going to be talking about macros and micros this morning. And if I can just get rid of this turban off my head, that's better. There we go. Yes. Hey guys. We are going to be talking about macros and micros, and the light really sucks, doesn't it? As much as it's not about my dial, we've got some glary type, we've got some bad light going on. In fact, I might even flip this around so we can get some better light. So as we move the studio angle, and how's that going for light? It's a bit better, right? Anyway, so macros and micros, what's that all about? Well, we've got Anne has just joined on the side there, and I'm trying to get comfortable so we can get some better light happening. They haven't fixed that yet on Facebook, but anyway, let's bring in Anne Westrom Murphy. There she is. So macros and micros. Okay, what are we talking about? In fact, I'm going to hang on. There we go. Whoa, there she is.
Hey,
Hey, Anne, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Well, despite the ridiculous weather we've had here on the perfect one day, beautiful the next Gold Coast,
Yeah, it's looking a
it's
little
been
cloudy and
crappy.
stormy there. Yeah,
Right.
I
So down the
know Anne
beach,
had. Oh, I see that. Yeah, I know
so the
Anne
water
had
is right
posted.
up.
Yeah, it's all the way up to the dunes, right?
Yeah, and I don't
Yeah.
know if you can see, but there's an entrance to the beach, so you can see the pedestrian crossing, right?
Uh-huh.
Which
Mm-hmm.
is about my fat finger. The pedestrian crossing. Now, then you'll see to the beach, there's a big red grid across the entry. They've
Mm-hmm.
closed the beach because the beach is gone. It's been
Right.
stolen. It's been washed away, and they've got a scarp or a little cliff. So as you go to walk on
Yeah.
the beach, then you got to drop about 5 feet down a cliff.
Yeah.
And so they've
You
closed
know,
off all the entry points to it
yeah,
because it's
beach
washed away because we
erosion.
had a hurricane. You call it a hurricane, we call it a cyclone.
I know. I
Um,
know. Anne had
yeah.
posted that, and she was like, "Cyclone." I'm like, "You
Ah,
have a freaking hurricane?"
yeah. And they
I've
tend to stay up north, but this time,
right.
every 5, 10 years, we get one that comes a
Get
little
one.
south.
Yeah. I've, growing up at the Jersey Shore on a barrier island,
Right.
I've gone through hurricanes. Um, and I know all about that beach erosion. You can have a nice beach, and then the next thing you know, you got that 5 foot cliff, and there's no beach at all.
There's
In
no beach.
Jersey,
Yeah.
what they've started doing is they do beach replenishment. So they go about 5 miles out, and
Right.
they pump it in, and they actually with machines like replenish the beach. Kind of sucks, but
Right, right.
But
Yeah.
then we have a beach, or else because you don't um, like years ago they didn't do that, and then you would go sometimes 2-3 years where we'd go up the beach and we have like this much, so everybody's kind of like on top of each other trying to.
Right. Yeah,
So
yeah.
I
So
spent quite a few years out in the boats because that way, okay, I still have the sun and the water and the fun.
right.
It
So
was like,
it's
yeah.
yeah. It
So,
happens rarely. And that's cool because we're heading off to New Zealand tomorrow anyway. So hopefully they'll fix the beach in the meantime. I haven't been able to do my beach walk, my barefoot beach walk.
yeah. Oh, I would
And
miss that.
yeah, so that's
I
pissing me
would
off.
miss
All those
that.
negative electrons and
Yeah, you
ions
get
that
those
I
negative
usually suck up
ions.
to my
Like,
feet.
oh yeah, there's negative ions. That's yeah. Oh, that's one thing I'd
Right?
love to just dig my feet in the sand and just like
Yeah.
ah.
Yeah. So when you walk straight on, you just get that psychological kind of
Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh,
feeling,
yeah. Oh, and the first time I go to the beach, like in season, it's like ah, like this. I'll be there next week
Right.
for a few days, but it's still cold. But I go to the
Right.
beach. I go
Oh
up
yeah.
there.
I leave the door open, the sliding door open. I
Yeah,
hear,
I mean
a bit of a
it's
breeze,
winter. It's
sea.
still winter. It's cold, but I will go up
Yeah.
there and I will walk. I'll have shoes on, but I'll stick my hand in the sand.
Right. Right.
Gotta get that.
Got to get that, get those positive emotions going,
Yeah,
that
yeah.
release.
I stick my hand in the ocean. It's so freaking cold, but I'll stick my hand in the ocean and in the bay too.
Right.
It's a part
Yeah.
of me.
Nice.
It's a part of me. So.
Right. Oh, hey, Anne. We've got lots of love coming from Anne number. Oh, I better say Anne number one. Um, so
Hey, Jack.
we
Hey, Fawn.
yeah, we've got a few people joining. Elisa is there as
Yeah. Oh, is
well.
she? Okay, cool.
Diane Cantrambone is there.
Hey,
Fawn.
Diane.
So we've got a few people that have jumped on.
Awesome.
Now,
Awesome.
the other thing you'll be really impressed with is that on the weekend I was in a place called Binnaburra, about an hour towards inland, up the mountain in a
Okay.
rainforest with my little guy. I posted a video
Oh,
on my
beautiful.
yeah, and I
Beautiful.
asked him about. We started talking about microbiome,
Okay.
and I gave him a little lesson beforehand. Of course, he remembers everything, and he sort of all of a sudden was this instant articulate expert on microbiome, and we talked about 15 minutes around that, and walking together and the social aspect of walking together in the rainforest. It was really cool. It was really cool. So
Mm-hmm.
so anyway, all right, macros and micros.
Mm-hmm.
People don't know what the hell they are a lot of the
Right.
time, and why should we care? What are they, and why should we care, Anne?
Right. Um,
Proteins,
so
carbs, all these things.
yeah. So the main thing that I wanted to talk about here is, people. So the macros, they're your fats,
Right.
your carbs, and your
Uh-huh.
proteins. Okay. And we
Okay.
get all of this. There's so much hype, and you have to have this and you have to count that. And like, I don't believe in counting anything per se, unless you're doing, like, if you're doing bodybuilding, or something, where there is this cultured desire, outcome.
Right.
Then yeah, you're going to need to get that specific, but there are so many things that we have taken as normal that it's really disordered eating. I touched
Right.
on this a little bit the other day. It was like a mini rant. It couldn't be a full rant because I had to get to my chiropractor because they were going to close.
Right. It was a part rant.
Yeah, it was funny because I had been watching something and this woman was talking about, oh, well, I can only have 4 almonds today. And then it was like 15 minutes later, I was
4.5.
reading. Yeah, right. I'm reading something, and this woman and the whoever wrote it was a blog. I don't know if it was a guy or a girl. Honestly, I forget. But they were talking about, I had 6 almonds and I had 8 ounces of this, and I'm like, oh my fucking God. Like, we've taken this on as it's normal. It's disordered eating.
Disordered eating?
you
Uh-oh. I'm
when you
guilty as charged.
when you are so, I have to count everything out, and you're measuring and restricting, like that's disordered eating. It's a form of
Right.
disordered eating, like there are, I actually, so I just had I had a prospective client call today, and in talking to this woman, we were talking about this, and she's been following, this program and that program and this and that, and then she read the Whole30, and she's like, well, is this something I should do? And it's like, and in our conversation, it was like, okay, so you keep going from this to this to this, and every experts telling you, okay, well, count this out and count that out, and you have to do this and you have to do that, and and I said, then what if it doesn't work for you? And she's having issues with allergies, a lot of different things, and she's already figured some things, and there are healthy things. We talked about this last week. There are, some people, quinoa is a superfood, and it's not on anybody's list as inflammatory foods, but I personally know quite a few people who can't eat it.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
okay.
Yeah, so we can't, when we get into this, well, I have to count this and I have to count that. It's disordered eating, and we've made it, quote unquote normal.
Okay.
And, go ahead.
Just to interrupt then. So I reckon, and the reason you're saying disordered is that not that it is a disorder as much as from a priority point of view, it's like, whoa. Okay, you want to get healthy. Let's just get the right kind of veg stuff in, with, the palm size, whatever piece of protein on the plate.
Let's find what works for you. Let's find what works for you.
Right. I mean, for me, if you look at like an elite sports person, one example would be Ann Shivers, for example, right? She's been in a sports elite, and when you're getting to that level, it's like driving a Formula One race car. You are going to be particular about that competitive edge.
Yes.
Because that's what's going to help you win the race, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so from that, you will, and I do too, because I'm measuring my macros. The thing is, in between, I'm snacking. I've got like I love dark chocolate, and I've got these dark chocolate coffee beans going in between, and a few almonds and whatever. And I've got a service that's being delivered for me, so it's not painful for me to do it. I couldn't be bothered measuring it out every day. I got to turn it out unless someone's doing it for me. But of course, I'm doing it for different reasons.
Yeah.
It is an eating for purpose thing, but it's at a high. It's at not an elite
and that's
level,
what I was
but
saying.
it's at a more particular.
Yeah.
There's a lot of other things people can do.
And that's what I was saying.
Person,
if you're doing that
elite
type thing, if you're doing and in a way it is disordered, but you're doing it's for a specific result. Okay, if you're looking for general, healthy weight, natural weight, health, and this and that, and having more energy, there are ways, and this is like, when I'm working with people, this is one of the most important things. Let's learn what works for you. And as I'm working with people, I have a way that and we've talked about this with the journaling and all, that you actually learn where your emotional eating is. You learn what foods are working and aren't working for you. And this method was how I learned for myself. For the most part, I do best with a little less protein, a little more fats, okay, and my carbs. And carbs are the one I really want to talk about tonight, because, oh my God, people are so fucked over carbs. Like, there's so much
are they confused?
misunderstanding and confusion and misinformation. And it's fucking insane to me.
It is insane. It is insane.
Yeah.
Thanks to the industry as well for doing
that.
Yeah. But you've got also that breakdown of carbs breaks down into fiber and starch too, right?
And okay. Let's talk about carbs. Let's talk about carbs.
Damn it. All right. Let's do that.
So I want to be concise like, okay, this can be a huge conversation. I'm going to keep it simple.
Diane's already heading
Bad
down
carbs.
there.
So first of all, I don't rate anything as good or bad. I don't believe that serving that has, again, that brings up a restrictive and a disordered approach to eating. Okay. So when I'm working with somebody, we always work from a point of good, better, best. Okay.
Yep.
So there are carbs you want to stay away from. They are processed. Okay. So when we look at, let's look at, first of all, our bodies, the first form of energy they burn are carbohydrates. We need carbs. Okay. The thing that you want to work towards is metabolic resilience, so that your body can burn the carbs and then get into the fat burn. Okay. So let's look at carbs. So not all carbs are, a carb is not a carb is not a carb. Carbs are not all equal. So processed carbs are what we want to stay away from. Here's what happens. So, yes, they're refined. So simple. Here's okay. So say I have this wheat. Say it's a grain of wheat. Okay. So it's got an outer part and an inner part. That outer part has fiber, amino acids, which are your proteins, all different vitamins and minerals. Okay. The fiber works to slow the absorption down and to support the body in absorbing the nutrients. Okay. But here's the catch. That outer part with all of this, it has essential fatty acids, which are volatile. Okay. They're not shelf stable. Hey, Jeremy. Oh. They're not shelf stable. Okay. They can go rancid. And when they go rancid, then the product's going to taste like crap. Okay. Side note, when they go rancid, they actually are now, they cause free radical damage. So, they're damaging cells. That's another story. So what do companies do? They process it. They take that outer part off. So now all you have so the husk, is the inside. The whole
foody part all of that goes, the rough bit.
And this is a simple carb. So a simple carb, it's not a complete acid chain. I'm not going to go into all of this, but when you have your complex carb, it's more complex. It's like I was saying, it's harder for the body to break down. So you have a slow burn. This is basically it's a carb. There's nothing else to it. So it burns really quick. Okay. Right. That sets us up for the crash, the spike and the crash. It sets us up to be a sugar burner. Yeah.
It's reduced down to.
It doesn't have the nutritional parts. Okay. Now, a lot of times what do they do?
Empty calories,
they enrich it. Okay. And enriched, it's synthetic nutrients that they're putting back in there. Okay. Our body doesn't know what to do with this. Our body doesn't know what it is.
And then it's probably been GMO'd as well, so it lasts forever.
Well, and the synthetic, the enrichment, it's chemicals. It's a man-made.
Awesome.
So first of all, there are so many components that work together in a real food that they're never going to be able to replicate in a lab. First off, okay.
Right. Yeah.
The other part of that is, our body, it's molecularly different. Our body doesn't know what to do with it. So you're not going to get, a healthy absorption of nutrients.
So even though they're in there and they've been packed back in, and the industry can say, oh, we've enriched it with this, this, and this, so all's cool and it'll last forever, so it can stay on the shelf.
Yeah.
So the distributor's happy as well, and therefore, if the distributor's happy, so is the supplier.
And the manufacturer and distributor are saying, "Oh, this is a food. It's not a food. It's a pseudo food. Pseudo meaning fake." Okay.
But they can say it on the label though. It's got all this, and this enriched.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, and they do, you know, and they market
Awesome.
it that way. They market
And it can't be
that
absorbed.
way.
Your body
Right.
can't absorb
No,
it.
your
Or there's some
body is just like,
toxic
what the
crap
fuck is
attached
this?
to it.
You know?
Yeah.
And you're not getting the nutrients, and a lot of times you get you know, you get leaching, you know, nutrient, like your body, it leaches minerals because the body's trying to do something with it, you know, and it wants some kind of nutrition. You know, right, Diane, it's bullshit. You know?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so that's a simple carb, and that's what you want to stay away from. So that's, you know, that's your breads, and that's your pastas, and that's your crackers, and you know, anything that's coming in a package, you know, you want to stay away from them. Those are the carbs that they're not serving you. And I like I said in the beginning, I don't like to label anything good or bad. Okay.
But in this case, it's pretty easy.
Yeah, I mean, it's not. There's no benefit. So should it be in your body? No, no,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah.
Okay. So what are the carbs that we want?
Yes.
Well, vegetables.
Drum roll. Drum roll. Okay.
Vegetables. Fruits.
Now these are complex carbs, right? These are complex carbs?
Complex carbs. Yes.
Complex carbs.
So they have a whole bunch of stuff that the body knows what to do with. Okay, Fawn, take care. You know, so
yeah. Thanks, Fawn.
What happens when you have your complex carbohydrates, they are real food. They are as nature intended them. They're unadulterated. They're not, you know.
Not refined.
No
not
company has
simplified.
taken and said, I'm going to take all this shit in and put my shit back in and then put it out there and tell you it's food. Right.
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 Farm to table.
Right.
Almost. By the supermarket, central market.
So, you know, it's your vegetables, it's your fruits, it's your, you know, nuts and seeds. It's your legumes, your beans, your seed, you know, like all of stuff like that. Like, and I've had people like, oh, well, so when I was doing some work with the gym, and then like I would have people freaking out. Well, oh well, you know, so I'm getting plant-based proteins in, but oh my gosh, now I'm over my carbs, and I'm like, no, you're not. You're not. It's not cracker, like, you know, it's not crackers, it's not, you know, breads, it's not pasta. It's, you know, it's you're getting a great form of protein. You know, you're getting vitamins, you're getting minerals. It's not the same type of carb as you're thinking of, oh, I don't want to have these carbs, you know. And I think that's a place where a lot of this confusion needs to be addressed because, this leads to disordered eating, you know. And here's another example. So say you have, and I've had this happen with sugar too. Okay, let me just, so say you have if you're looking at just like the numbers, okay, you could look at, you have a cup of broccoli and like I don't know, like a roll or a cupcake or something. It may look like, because this has less like carbs or less whatever than this, the broccoli, so it may look like, oh, well, this is better to eat, you know, but in reality, no, you know, because it's not the same. This is going to give nutrition to the body, okay? This is going to give a good burn, a good energy, you know, whatever it is, whether it's, you know, beans, legumes, like broccoli, whatever. Okay, this roll or cupcake, like it's been modified. So what happens is it's been processed. So the body's just taking that. It's sugar. Okay, so it's automatic.
Yep.
And there's no nutritional value.
So you're getting that glycemic spike, then insulin, and then kind of store it away as fat.
Exactly. Yeah. Let me see. Stephen says, grains in moderation for those who can tolerate them. Exactly, Stephen. So let's talk about that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
Oh, so true. So I, for one, don't tolerate grains that well. Occasionally, I will have, and I'm talking maybe 2 or 3 times a year, I'll have either brown rice or like wild rice, but I make sure that it is soaked, with kombu, which is a form of seaweed, and cooked right, you know. Oh, there are some people when they're just looking at numbers, Stephen, like I've had people like, oh, well, if I eat these beans, you know, there's more carbohydrates than this cupcake. And it's like, what? Or, oh, if I eat these strawberries, it's more sugar than this cupcake. And it's like, no, 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 no. Okay, let's look at this, you know, because you're totally off base here. But okay, so back to the greens. So yeah, you need to learn if they work for your body. Okay, and that is a key thing, first of all. And that's one of the first things I start working with people. Like, let's learn what works for you. Okay, because not everybody can tolerate everything. Now, I can eat quinoa, but quinoa is not a grain, it is a seed. Okay?
Right.
I don't do well with most grains. I can eat millet. I don't eat a whole lot of it, but I can eat it.
Yeah.
I
mean, if you're gluten intolerant, you've got celiacs, then you're off the grains.
Yeah, you're saying, pretty much, yeah. So it's, you know, that's important. And talking about that, you know, we have these gluten-free. Well, what are they made with? Rice, brown rice, rice flour, millet, amaranth.
Right.
So, and a lot of the times, again, a lot of people are intolerant and they don't realize, you know?
Right.
So,
yeah,
so that's an important thing. So, but if they work for you, then it's okay. As long as they're cooked right. They need to be soaked, you know, at least 8 hours. They need to be cooked slowly, preferably with kombu, which is it's a seaweed. You know, so again, like looking at there's like, you know, there's such a confusion over can't eat carbs, but our bodies need carbs, you know. And let's like look at sugar, you know, like
you need sugar.
We crave sweet. Okay, mother's milk is sweet.
Well, it's lactose.
Yeah, mother's milk is sweet.
Well, hang on, lactose in women? No, it's in cows only, right?
No, I think it's in cows only. I'm not. Yeah, I think it's in cows. Lactose is in cows. Yeah. But the bottom line is, mother's milk is sweet. Okay, we crave sweet. There is nothing wrong with sweet, but you don't want to be getting it from processed sugar. That's white sugar. Yeah. Like I talked about. Yeah. Have you ever, I'm sure you've seen, the brain runs on glucose. Exactly.
Yeah. It's about 25% of our sugar consumption goes to the brain.
Have you ever had sugar cane?
Glycol, or what do they call it?
Yeah,
sugar cane, yeah.
Have
you ever
had like sugar cane? It's a branch. Okay? Yep. Like I've like chewed on you. It's like you're gnawing on a branch.
Right. But it's not refined and concentrated and reduced.
Right. Yeah. So it's got the fiber, it's got vitamins, it's got minerals, and
all the good stuff. Straight from the ground.
It's a slower burn.
It's not so because it's not so
if you have your white sugar, that's all been,
right.
And that's what happens when you have your white sugar. All of that good stuff has been stripped. And that's going to lead to this. So, you know, like I said a couple minutes ago when Stephen was questioning, you know, about, you know, I've had people look at, oh, well, I want to eat this cup of strawberries or blueberries or whatever it is, you know, but, oh, well, it's got more sugar than this cupcake. So I'm better off eating the cupcake.
Right.
You cannot just look at a number. It's the insanity. This is a whole food.
Yeah.
It's got the fiber. Yeah. It's got the nutrients. So what happens is that slows it down. That slows the absorption down. It's and you're able to get the nutrients, and you have less of that spike. Whereas you have that cupcake, so you have that spike. Okay. And I'm not even going to go into all the other issues of having that processed sugar. Okay.
Well,
So,
yeah.
there's a huge difference no matter how you're
Look,
looking at it.
I mean, the two or three sort of indicators that I keep an eye on from a health perspective day to day, which are the sort of precursor checks for getting chronic disease. I mean, from a metabolic point of view, that balance between keto and glucose, your glycemic variability. So if you are spiking, in fact, I've got my device on my table at the moment, on my desk. I'll show you, but I received it recently and got it going yesterday, and it's checking my glucose level.
Okay.
And you can do it. I need to calibrate it with a glucometer where they do the blood prick, but I won't have to do it anymore once it's calibrated. So this unit here, my finger goes in here, and I've got some software, and it'll check my glucose reading, right, onto my iPhone. Great for diabetics, and I think they've already
Right.
it's been approved in Europe for a medical class 1 device. Now,
Okay.
glycemic variability obviously very important to your point. As is, I always say check my heart rate variability every morning. You've got to do it in the same
Well, and
position,
that's,
same, right?
and when you learn how to listen to your body, you learn, like, I can tell, like, there's a feeling I get. It's kind of like
You get buzzed,
in my chest area and in my head.
right?
Like, I can
Right,
tell, like, okay, you know what? I'm like, I'm not dealing with this sugar well,
right, right.
Um, and that
'Cause
it's important to be able to learn
yeah,
how to listen to your body that way. There are certain things, like certain ways that I've learned that I start to
yep,
feel if, okay, you know what? I haven't had enough protein today. I haven't had enough fats today. You know,
right.
I've had too much sugar, And when you
See,
learn how to listen to that, then you learn, like, there are a lot of times, like, I'll be like, okay, I'm hungry. What is it
yep,
that I want right now? And there are just cues that if I listen to my body, I know, okay, you know what? I need, this and this, or I need more proteins and carbs. You know what? I just need some fats, So I try and get all of that, into each meal. And then depending on, and it can vary from the day, like, your the exertion levels, mentally, how you're feeling, how you ate
right.
the day before, how you slept, where your emotions are. Like, they all can play a part in what your body needs. So it's really cool when you learn to listen, because then you're like, oh, okay. And like I said, when I just really, like, I kind of like, what do I need right now? And
Okay.
then I
So,
know, and I
so
can
this is
gauge it from
interesting
there.
though. This is interesting because the third one I was going to say was HSCRP, C-reactive protein for inflammation, right? And
Okay.
HS is highly sensitive, which is very handy for cardio. That was the third one. But what you're saying is, and because you know yourself really well, that you can feel that, and you can even feel now beyond an emotional need, right? Where it was that, remember we did that recent
Yeah.
Epi Live
With the
on
emotion. Yeah.
purposeful eating versus eating for
Yes.
pleasure, right? The thing is, and I'm dealing with like a lot of execs and executives, and of course they get off on this type of stuff because they want
Right.
to see numbers. That
Right.
type of animal, they got so much noise going on that it's almost a bit too woo-woo for that type of being to go, I'll tell you what I feel. I feel like a coffee, and I want my blueberry bun right now because blueberry I know is healthy. So they don't even have the knowledge, right? And they're feeling better on getting the buzz from that. And so for them, if you hit them with some science and some facts and data, they go, oh shit, okay, right.
But there's
Versus you're dealing
also
with John.
facts and science that you can show them that, hey, you know what? If you slow the fuck down,
Yeah.
and
Oh, that's
and
heart rate
and
variability. That's HRV
and
right there.
I know two people who personally who were like that, and
Yeah.
when they learned how to slow down and
Yeah.
kind of reapproach how they're looking at their work and their priorities, then they were able to really get, and now they're like, wow, like, I missed a whole lot in my life,
Right. You know, some of them need the wake-up call for that to happen.
Yeah.
I had another
Yeah, and I get
exec
what you're
that
saying with
died
all the
2 weeks
tech
ago,
stuff. I get what you're saying
right?
with all the tech stuff, but
Yep.
I think in reality, a lot of them need that hit between the eyes. Like,
Hit
dude,
between the
like,
eyes.
yeah,
Well,
like, you know
hopefully
what?
it's, yeah, before they start to wake up to want to take an interest in looking at through tech
Right,
or through maybe how I feel if they're more advanced, like
right.
yourself, where they're in tune and have gone to their retreat and thought, holy shit, I
Mm-hmm.
need to make some major changes in my life. But yeah, there's different ways, I guess, to skin the
Yeah.
cat. But
Oh,
like I said,
yeah.
unless something with impact happens, they kind of stay on that treadmill and just aren't aware enough to think that what they're doing is going to build up to hit them in the face one day, and
Mm-hmm.
hopefully it won't be fatal. I just had
Mm.
another executive in his 40s die of a heart attack. This guy was loved, very respected in the IT
Mm-hmm.
industry, out of nowhere. And
But
it's funny because
it's never out of nowhere. It's been building for years. It's
well,
never
they didn't
out of
know,
nowhere.
right? It's like saying,
It's,
oh, I've got cancer. It's like,
yeah,
dude, I'm sick because I've got cancer. No, you got
yeah.
cancer because you've been sick for 15 fucking
Yeah,
years.
yeah, and that's so, to me, like, I get what you're saying, but I think it's also important to hit people with, you know what? Like, just because you're blah, 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 blah all the time doesn't mean
Yeah.
that's the best for you. And okay, yeah, you can
Nope.
use this device and see the numbers, but in reality, there's a whole lot you're not seeing.
Yep.
And, in the long run, that's like a band-aid. It's not a solution to the whole picture.
Well, they numb to even some of the pain. They numb to the
Mhm.
pain, and that pain becomes
Mhm.
normal. And oh, I'm getting old.
Yeah.
That's why I feel that pain, dude. No, it's
Yeah.
actually your body saying knock knock.
Yeah.
We've been sick. Now I'm
There was a
knocking on the
woman I
door.
worked with last year. She worked 16 to 18 hours a day.
Right.
Okay. And it was go, 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 go. And I don't have time and I can't this and I can't that. And a few years ago, she had ended up in the hospital almost dead. And I was like, okay, so
Right.
that's going to be
Yep.
okay to happen again. And she was like, I don't want that to happen again. And I'm like, so, what's different?
What are you gonna
What is
change? Yeah.
different? And it took a lot of work, but,
Oh, I'm taking a whole lot of pharmaceutical stuff now to fix it.
it took a whole lot of work for her to be able to like step back and really, I even said to her at one point, I'm like, so all you do is work. So that's who and what you are. And she's like, well, yeah. And I'm like, you know what? That's so monocular and so fucking boring. And no, that is
Yeah.
what you do. It's not who you are. I said, what about your
Yeah.
husband? When do you spend time with him? Well, I don't really have time for that. I was like, do you go out with any friends? No, not really. And I was like,
Hasn't got
do
time.
you,
She doesn't have
do you,
24 hours in the day like
do
the
you,
rest of us.
do you get outside? Do you do anything outside? No. She goes, there is a garden not far from here that I really like to go sit in, but I haven't done that in over a year. And I'm like, and this is life? And it was the process, but I taught her time chunking, and I was like, this is about priorities, dude. And it, she's working 9 hours a day now, and she takes time during the day for herself and for some movement and to make food. She has dinner with her husband, and instead of going back and working another 4 hours, after dinner they watch a movie and go to bed. And most weekends, she doesn't even turn on her computer, where she used to work all weekend, both days. But it was a process because she was a go, go,
Right.
go, and I have to, and it was like, dude, like, you're going to end up dead. You're going
Running.
to end up dead.
Yeah.
You
Pedal
know?
to the metal in a Formula One race car doesn't win you the race. Like
Yeah.
you'll blow the engine.
No.
You'll blow something up.
No.
Something will break. And then you put crap fuel in to make it worse.
Right, right. So, in reality, going back to like the macros, learning what works for you. Now, yeah, if you have somebody that's an athlete, like, yeah, we're gonna really look at, we're gonna probably be upping some protein, upping the fats, and definitely upping
Yeah.
the carbs, you know, that those, you
Depending
know,
on the
again,
purpose. They're
complex
eating for purpose
carbs.
there too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Eating for purpose, which we
Yeah.
have talked about before.
Yeah.
You know, but
Yeah.
it doesn't have to be this like counting and weighing, because again, that's disordered eating. It's restrictive, and then we have these like, you know, oh, I have to cheat. Like, there doesn't have to be cheating. That's another thing. Like, there's no cheating. You know, if
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
if you learn how you work, you learn what works for you, and okay, you want now, unless now again, like if you're doing like with Carrie with doing that cut, there may be periods of more of a strict time, but you know, for
Yeah. Yeah.
general health and weight, like if you, here's what happens if you're denied, if I say, you know what, Tommy, you cannot have that, what happens? It's
Yeah.
natural. We want it. I could not want anything, you know, and you tell me I can't have it, and then it's like all of a sudden it's like, well, I fucking want it. What do you mean I can't have it? I want to have that, and then I
Yeah.
get, you know,
Yeah.
and so instead of looking at and coming into that mindfulness, and we talked about this before, where you come into that mindfulness, say you want that chocolate or that cupcake or whatever, and you're mindful with it, a lot of times you end up not even, like, you eat it or you eat half of it and you're like, wow, that was really good, and I don't even want any anymore.
Right.
You know,
Right.
versus coming
Yeah.
from that, oh, well, this is, I'm cheating, or this is bad, and then you're like, because you're not getting
Yeah.
that satisfaction from it, you know? So I think it's really important to be looking at, you know, where are my fats, where are my proteins, where are my carbs, and learning what works for you, you know? And that's where a
Okay.
lot of times, you know, having somebody help you figure that out can
Yep.
be, that can be like the best answer, you
Yep.
know?
Right. And yeah. I mean, we're probably getting to a good point here to where we can kind of land this as well. And that's where, like, coming to someone like yourself to help out. I mean, I take a more of a scientific approach to it.
Yeah.
I use
Well, and some
tools to
people,
do it.
that's
You
the
take a
fit.
different approach. You know,
Some
people it
people-
fits, it works, or they start with you and then they move to wanting to becoming more scientific about it, or either way.
Right.
There's different ways to approach it. The thing is, the intent is to get more balanced and to get specific for what's right for you.
For you.
And
Yes.
making moves towards
That's the most
that in a
important
personalized
thing.
health way.
That's the most important. One of my dogs is like right here at my leg, like wants me to.
Is that
pet
right?
him. That's why I keep
Let's have a
bending
look.
down. He's just
What sort
like
of dog
right
is it?
here. He's just like.
What sort of dog is that?
He's a Corgi Jack Russell mix.
A Corgi Jack Russell. Whoa.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right, ma'am. Yeah. So
What's his name?
and that's it. The main thing is, you know, and it's not hard once you really start to get the hang of it. You know, you start to really listen. You can learn pretty quickly what works and what doesn't.
Yeah. And look, some simple steps, you know, non-scientific to begin with, and what is right specific for you, whether it's going through, you know, the way that you deliver this versus also the way that I deliver, or the integrative approach that we take, is to, you know, eat the rainbow. Try and get it that it's coming straight from the farm, or that it's organic at least, or even biodynamic if you can.
And real,
right?
the way it came from nature.
Yeah, right. And to be doing that, so you're getting the right amount of fiber, the right amount of starch, which overall is your carbs. The meat piece, the protein piece. I mean, for me, because I've worked it out, fish is as far as I go, because all my research stuff says fish, so I'm doing that at the moment, along with eating the rainbow, and that protein piece being about the size of your palm. If you're
And then getting your protein from your, you know, your beans and nuts and seeds,
legumes,
and
nuts.
all that.
You know, different veg, different color veg. Mix it up. Keep it clean. Try and get clean stuff, or wild caught fish if you can. You know?
And your fats, and that's the other thing. A lot of it crosses over. Your fats, you know, So your nuts and your seeds have a lot of your fats.
Yeah, a lot of fats.
The healthy fats.
Yeah.
Your wild
Packed
fish
full of
have,
nutrients.
Yeah,
Packed full of
and that's
micros.
what I like. That's what I like. When you have the meat, you get it's the protein. It's not. There's no fiber, and there's not a whole bunch of other vitamins and minerals.
And it's muscle.
When you,
it's only one part of the animal too.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Whereas when you're looking at that plant protein, there's so much more to it. You're actually getting healthy carbs. Some of the time, you're getting healthy fats.
Yeah.
And then your avocado and your coconut oil and your coconut, stuff like that. Yeah.
Yep. So, and you can get all your amino acids. There's 26 amino acids, 9 of the essential ones that we don't produce ourselves. You can actually get them all that 9 from hemp. Any hemp-based products. For those that want to take more of a plant-based approach, but
the
B12
so getting
supplements.
so getting your the hemp seeds. Quinoa is a complete protein. It has the 9 essential fatty acids. But our body, everything has amino acids. So your body knows how to pull them and make the amino acid chains that it needs. Those 9 essential that you need to eat specifically. Your quinoa, your hemp.
Okay, it's there.
So
it's all there.
Yep.
Okay. All right. And micronutrients, your A, E, D, and K, they're usually kind of the basic, and C.
Yeah, but
a couple of thousand milligrams.
Where do they come? They come if you're eating these whole foods. They have them. They have them.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we talked the other day. We talked. I think it was last week or the week before. Selenium and vitamin K, Brazil nuts.
Yeah.
3 of them gives you what you need. So have a minimum of 3.
Right. There we go. There it is. Let food be thy medicine and medicine be thy food.
Yeah.
As
it's not hard. It's not hard.
said. Yeah. Right.
It's not a hard thing. We've made it so confusing, and it's not.
Yeah. Okay. All right, we're going to land this out right now. Thanks, Annie. I know you were rushing home to get on. Really looks forward to jumping onto this one every midweek, or almost midweek here in Oz. And if you need any further help on what it is you should be eating from a personalized health point of view, guidance, and a way to get coached in the right direction,
drop me a message.
There she is, right? PM and Western Murphy. And if you want to take a different approach with it, myself, I use some tools to be able to assess it, or an integrative approach. You can use both.
There you go.
Towards basically delivering what it is that's best for you.
And
some simple steps to be able to make moves in the right direction.
For you as an individual.
That's it. All right.
Okay.
So we're going to break it here, and great to see you. We'll see you in the next one. And for everybody, remember to enjoy life right here, right now, today.
Yeah. There you go.
We will see you on
next Tuesday.
FB Live next Tuesday. All righty.
Bye.
Bye.